ones first. Since they tell us they want our answer with all exponents positive, let's do that. So how are we going to rewrite each term with all the exponents positive?
The first one's good.
The first one is fine. 3a squared x over m. What about the second one?
5x. X.
Yes.
Over m.
Yes. So you notice the trickiest thing here is when the x to the negative 2 comes up, x to the negative 1 and x squared combine to give you x to the first. So which ones are like terms? All of them. How are we going to add them? Or how are we going to combine them?
So you'll do 4.
For what?
4a squared x.
Yeah, 4a squared x over m. Or a squared x over m. It's just like adding and subtracting any other fractions. They all have the same denominator, so we can just add along the top. 3a squared x plus 5a squared x gives us 8a squared x, minus 4a squared x gives us 4a squared x. That's it. Questions about that one? Questions about any others from the homework?
Actually, 22.
22. Expand by using the distributive property. Write the answer with all exponents positive. This is a wonderfully annoying Saxon problem. Okay. They tell us to write the answer with all exponents positive. I think we should just start by doing that. Rewriting with all exponents positive. So what's it going to look like?
Negative 3 over x2 and and then y to y2.
Yeah, y squared on top and x squared on bottom. All right, before I do that, I need to write a big what?
That's
Yeah.
and then x squared on top and then y squared on bottom.
Yeah, x squared over y squared.
Plus 4x squared y minus
Yeah, let's write that over 1. Now what do I do?
Distribute.
Now I'll use the distributive property. So what do I do first to do that?
you add would you add the exponents?
How does the distributive property work?
Well, I mean, you're like multiplying.
X squared. Y squared. Over x squared. Y squared.
Right, first then multiply this by this. What am I going to get then?
X squared. Y squared.
What am I going to get when I multiply these two? How do I multiply fractions?
Oh. X squared y to the 4th.
How do I multiply fractions?
Oh yeah,
No! How do I multiply fractions?
No.
You guys have been doing this all year.
Oh, what?
How do we multiply fractions? Good morning. Please be on time.
Yeah.
Take out the homework so I can check it. We multiply across the top and across the bottom. What happens when I multiply across the top?
You multiply across the top. Negative 3x squared y squared.
Thank you. He only just got here, and he's
That's
more
what you're saying. Very confusing.
over.
Went to the bottom.
You said variable.
X squared y squared.
Right? He said variable.
Okay, but what happens?
He said you just multiplied it. Yeah, x over x squared y squared.
But what's the problem?
So just negative 3 over 1?
Right, it's just negative 3. The x squared on top and the x squared on...
Just multiplied.
Well, we could have, but I didn't get the correct answer before. Yes, the x squared on bottom and the x squared on top cancel out. Same thing with the y squared on top, y squared on bottom. So the first term just becomes what when we multiply these two together?
Negative 3
-3.
-3.
All right, now what do I do?
Go on to the next. -12.
Okay, so we're gonna multiply these two together. Minus
12.
12 what?
12 squared y.
12y cubed.
Yeah.
Because
What happened to the x's?
they cancel.
They canceled out because we got x squared on top and x squared on bottom. Now what?
Are you doing number 22?
Yes.
Well, that x squared was on the other side.
What?
Oh, never mind. You moved it to the bottom.
Yeah, the first thing we did when we wrote this was we made all of our exponents positive.
Right, always write the problem wrong.
Why? To make our lives.
I didn't do that, but I said that.
Well, so no, look at the directions. The directions say write the answer with the top. It's easiest to do that before you do the rest of the problem because it's going to make your life easier. If they ask for negative exponents or moving things to the bottom, that I would wait for. I might even consider making everything positive and then flipping it at the end to make it negative if they ask for negative. I think making all the exponents positive is the easiest way to do this because negative exponents, it's easy to get yourself confused with. Either that or bring everything to the top. All right, so then what's going to happen with our last term?
+6
Plus 6 what?
on x.
Nope,
Over 1.
nope. So you're right, -3 is.
6 over x.
Thank you, 6 over x, because the one on the top gets canceled out by one of the ones on the bottom. We have -3 y squared times 2x over x squared times y squared. These y squareds cancel out. These x's, x over x squared is 1 over x. Yes? Question?
Except for 2 and these ones that you just put. And
I have no idea.
Incomplete.
All right, next. Next. I'll take one or two more.
Number 2.
Number 2. Yes. Okay. Someone read number 2 aloud for me, please.
You want
He already started reading. Go.
Lower the bridge down, but not before 18% of the goats across. If 45 goats across, how many goats are there?
Okay. Please pay attention up here. This type of problem, there were a lot of mistakes on the test. What information they give us?
They gave 18% of goats back from us. And 45 goats.
Right. If 18%,
18% was 45.
45 crossed. Yes?
Yeah.
And they're asking us what? Is an equation.
18 over 100.
18%, yes, 18 over 100
Times x or whatever.
times, yeah, goats.
Equals 45.
Right, because 45
That's how many.
is that 18%. 18% of the total is 40. All right, now what do?
18b over 100. Or you can simplify first
Yeah, let's simplify it.
and get 9 over 50.
9 over 50 times g.
9g over 50.
I like using Ant's method here,
Alright, so
where once we get to this, what do we do? Yeah, we're gonna divide by 9 over 50, or you can think of it as multiplying by 50 over 9.
times 1 over 45.
So it's 45 divided by 9 over 50, or we can say 45 times 50 over 9. Now what can I do?
Wait, divide by 9.
Yes, 45 becomes,
5.
9 becomes,
1.
okay, 5 times 50
250.
is 250.
Over.
There you go, 250 goes.
Oh.
Quick comment about this problem.
I know myself.
If you got 245.7,
Well, not
if that's what you got your answer, What should go through your mind at that point?
That you got it wrong.
Why?
You can't have 0.7.
Right. We're talking about goats here. We need a natural number or a whole number of goats. You're gonna have 0 goats, you're gonna have 1 goat, you're gonna have 2 goats. You can't have 247.9 goats.
What if it's a goat that still has to stumble on the stone house?
Well, then it's probably not doing any prancing. Probably.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Sucking your piece.
What? He's going live.
Bro.
That's how you know actually go, bro. See.
All right. Shh. Other problems you want to go over?
No.
Any others? Last call for problems from the homework that you want to go over.
29. We didn't do 29.
Yeah, we did.
29 is it's just based on type. It's just 20 times 13.
Yeah.
Oh.
Parallelograms and rectangles, both it's length times width or based on times height, whatever you want to call it.
Wait, you do number 29.
Bro.
I just did.
20 times length. 20 times 13. You get 260.
Really odd. I try to like, I thought you could what is it called? Instead of like that, you would like take it and then
You could split it into 2 triangles, but why bother? Just learn the formulas and use the formulas.
Oh,
The formula for the area of a parallelogram is base times height.
no, I doubled it. Like I.
Well, this is why you gotta know the formulas. Please, know the formulas. They're there in the back of the book. In the back of the book, you've got all these formulas. For number 8. Anybody?
we can
It is X.
0, I mean, yeah, 0 is
Well, no, we're gonna start with x. X is what?
less than 0.
X is less than 0. What's the domain for this?
Integer.
No.
Negative integer.
Okay, notice, is 0.5 a solution to this inequality if we look at the graph?
Yes.
Is negative 0.5 an integer?
Yes. No.
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 Negative 0.
So our domain can't be integers because we have some answers that are not integers. Yeah, it's the real numbers. It's the real numbers. If the line is continuous, your domain is real numbers. Because once you start eliminating things like irrational numbers,
But don't real numbers also include positive numbers?
yes.
So,
So we're talking about within the realm of real numbers, then we say x is less than 0. And that eliminates all the positive things, and 0. But the domain of it has to include the real numbers, or at least the negative real numbers. Because if we start eliminating irrational numbers or things that aren't integers, then we're not going to have a continuous line anymore. Because real numbers is anything that can be represented as a point on the number line. So if we start eliminating any of the real numbers, that line is no longer going to be continuous. It's going to start having holes in it. And this line doesn't have holes in it. Last call about the homework. Yes. All right, get the tests back. The tests were all right. The average was like the first page. The first page was a mess. The rest of it was okay, but the first really the first 4 problems were just.
did you put the grades in Jupyter yet?
Yes.
Jeez,
So take a second to look at these. I'm going to talk about a couple of them, and then I'll open it up. Where's my copy? Okay. Yeah, the 3 that I wanted to talk about are numbers 1, 2, and 4. For you guys here, and then, or rather, we're going to do them together. And then I'll open it up for other questions that you have. Corrections are possible for this. Corrections will be due Thursday.
why not tomorrow?
Because I like giving you guys extra time. Because I'm saying.
Frank peeked around the corner and spied 450 under the tree.
if this was 80% more than Smith's spy, how many did Smith spy?
Yes.
Why Smith spy around the corner?
I don't know. It's a weird problem. But we shouldn't get hung up on that. Okay, Frank spied how many?
450, which is 80% of.
No. You're already getting off track. Okay, so Frank spied 80%, what?
80% more.
More than Smith. And what are they asking?
How many is he spy?
How many did Smith spy? That's what they're asking. 80% more. So how can we write one sentence that contains all this information?
What?
How can we write one sentence putting this together that we can then turn into an equation?
I have no idea.
If Frank spied 450, and that's 80% more than Smith.
Did anybody get number one right?
No,
Oh.
I don't think anybody did.
Oh,
How can we set this up as an equation? Let me ask a slightly different question. What's the relationship between the number that Frank... Please give me a sentence. Don't just say individual words. It's not clear what you mean when you just say things like more or 80.
80% more than
Don't use pronouns. Use nouns.
Oh.
450.
What are your pronouns?
450.
Again, giving me single things is not helpful here. You need to give me a sentence. What's the relationship between what Frank spied and what Smith spied?
Frank spied 80% more than Smith.
Thank you. Frank spied 80% more than Smith. It's literally right there. No, you said more, and then you said 80%.
Oh, I said the second time.
And there you look in your
80%.
Wait, what was that?
How can we write this second sentence mathematically?
80% over 100 plus, yeah. No, minus
4 over 5.
You're going to need to give me an equation. Okay, Frank.
Yeah.
Frank Haley.
How are we going to write Frank? Here.
F.
Great, F. Okay, F. Relationship to the number that Smith spied.
20.
No.
Not 80%.
No.
F 80%. F over.
Okay.
F minus 80.
No.
Oh, F over 1.
You cannot just subtract 80% from something. 80% is less than 1. 80% is 0.8. It's 4/5. Our percents, anytime we're talking about percents, we're talking about percents of something. So this 80% is 80% of what?
Well, couldn't you do this the same way that you did the goat one?
Yeah, if we could get it set up, yes.
Oh, then would it would be 80%, like 80 over 100 times x over 1 equals 4.
No. Who spied more, Frank or Smith? I can't believe it, but I'm actually going to do the diagram.
Frank! Smith!
Smith spied a smaller amount. Yes?
That's not smaller though.
The small circle is. Bro.
No.
Smith spied a smaller number than Frank.
Oh.
Yes?
No, but that circle is bigger than.
Humans are smaller than the planet.
That's like saying I'm bigger than you, Ashley.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Robbie.
Okay! Frank spied 80% more than Smith. So Frank's circle that he saw is bigger.
Makes no sense at all.
What's the connection between the number that Smith saw and the number that Smith saw?
Frank saw 80.
What the heck? No, stop.
No, the number that Smith saw and the number that Smith saw. What's the relationship between them?
Frank spied 80% more than Smith.
I'm not asking about Frank. I'm asking about Smith.
20%.
20%. That last.
Less than.
450. Oh, yeah, 20%. Oh, 450. Oh,
Can I connect it to the back?
No,
Bro, I said,
no, nobody's leaving until we get this problem.
Alright, guys, shut your mouth.
Alright.
Only right answers.
Listen, what's the connection between the?
Oh, negative 80%.
You don't get all right answers. I'm not getting
Negative 80%.
you're like, more,
What the?
Shh.
I'm gonna get all
Quiet! What's the relationship between the number that Smith saw and the number that Smith saw?
That makes no sense.
Is it not? It's
Okay, if John has
Smith saw 100%, like he saw all of them.
Smith saw all the ones that Smith saw.
And-
Yes,
And
he's the
Frank
same person.
saw
So
80%.
100%.
This is 100.
So okay, and
Smith
Frank-
saw 100% of the ones that Smith saw. Yes,
Yeah, and then, so,
And then-
80%, he's right behind
Bro.
because there's 100% already here, and then we're adding another 80%.
it.
So what's the connection between Frank and Smith? Frank is equal to what?
180. I said shut up.
No,
No, 450 plus 100.
450.
which is
180.
180%.
That's what
Oh,
I said.
no, it's not. It's not. It's not. You
450.
no, you can't just keep saying partial things and expect me to accept them as correct.
Oh, okay.
Because-
Okay, okay.
No, no, stop saying things that.
And
You
then,
know it's smart. I
and then
got
Smith saw 100%.
What's the connection between Frank and Smith? Frank saw what percent of the ones that Smith saw?
180%.
Of Smith, right? He saw 180%
How do you see more than 100?
of because he saw more than Smith saw.
You saying I traveled the planet, saw 180%.
If I charge you 80% more than I charge Matthew, then I'm charging you 180% of what I charged him. I charged him 100% of what I charged him. Because that's the same amount. 100% is the full
You're
thing.
charging me.
And I'm charging 80% extra, so I'm charging you 180% of what I charged him.
Oh, okay.
That's what we have here. Is that 80% more, so he actually sees not 80%, but
180%. Bro,
405?
but 180%.
Yeah, and then you do
Can I
You're skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead. So now, what do I need to do? What do I need to plug in here?
S. Wait, that, yeah. Yeah, 9.
Wait, no, you should.
Plug in 450 for Frank. 450, the number that Frank saw, is 180% of the people that Smith saw. At this point, it's just a matter of solving the equation. Hurry up.
Thank you.
That was the. Oh, wow.
Quickly, somebody please.
And then you move over.
Okay, but let's simplify it first.
Oh, okay. 18 over.
Please stop talking.
And then
18 over what?
10. And then move it over to the side,
450 divided by 9 over 5 equals S
which would be 450 over 1 times 5 over 9.
times 5 over 9. Now what did I do?
You can,
that 50 on the top.
can't you,
Yes, 50 up here and 1 down here.
and then, yeah.
So, Smith saw how many?
Right.
Now let's check our work. If Frank saw 80%, double 250 is what? It's 500. It's 480, 450 close.
If he thought 80% more,
Yeah.
that's more than double.
No.
Yeah.
200% would be double. 100% more would be double. 80% more is 180%, which is close to double, but not quite.
You didn't even wash your hands.
Are you there? Questions about that one? Listen, when you're talking about percents more and percents less, don't use that number that they give you. Ask yourself, what's actually the relationship there? If he saw 80% more, that's 80% on top of the 100%. If I charge you 80% more than that's an additional 80% on top of what I already charged him. So it's greater than 100%. I charge you 100% of what I charged him, and then on top of it, I charge you 80% more. So Frank here, who's buying 80% more than Smith, first he saw 100% of the ones that Smith saw, and then he saw an additional 80% on top of that.
Oh, I get it.
So that's why Frank's number is 180% of Smith's number. Frank's number is 180% of Smith's number. Then they tell us that Frank's number is 450, and then once we get to that, then we can solve for Smith. When it talks about percents more, percents less, you're going to have to be adding or subtracting from 100%. We're talking about percents more than 100% or percents less than 100%. All right, next up, number 2. Again, a lot of mistakes on number 2.
I got
Wait, did we just do number 1?
Yes, we literally just did number 1 from the test, and we have 10 minutes left in the period.
We're not good at this.
So productive.
You know, I think it was good though, because I think we made some real progress on the conceptual basis for problems like number 1. We're also going to be doing number 4. Actually, let's do number 4 first, because number 4 is the same time.
Okay, let's go.
Because I'm a good teacher who cares
Yes,
about
you
my
are.
students.
You're a teacher.
Literally walked out when Ashton said that.
All right, shh, shh.
Oh, that's
You're wasting time. You're wasting time.
Oh,
The store gave 25% discount, yet Jeremy still had to pay $105 for the tennis shoe. What was the original price for the tennis shoe?
Okay,
Holy.
so if the store owner gave a 25% discount, what percent of the original price did Jeremy pay? If somebody says 25%, I'm going to scream.
Paid 75%. Wait. Yeah, 70%.
He said paid
70%.
He paid 75% because he got a 25% discount.
Black Friday.
So if there were no discount, he would have paid the original price. Yes, of his times P here for price. And what did we learn? How much did he pay at 75% of the original price? Is 105 buckaroos. Now we just solve for P by doing what? Thank you. 3/4 times P is 105. Then I multiply by 4 over 3. 105 times 4 over 3. What should I do first?
No.
What can I simplify? What can I simplify here in 105 times 4 over 3?
3 and 5 is a number.
What number is it?
3 and then 9. 35.
No. Yes, yeah, it is. Sorry. 35. 35 times 4 is? Easy way to do this is,
140.
yeah,
No, it's not.
yes, it is 140. 140 what? 140 140 inches? 140 what? Dollars.
What's the point of being in my face?
What is the point of being in
Please stop talking, the two of you. You can ask me additional questions about this after school. I want to talk really quickly about lesson 66 here. Lesson 66, 2 quick topics. You can open up to 66 if you want. But remember, simplify square root of 50.
Simplify square root of 50. Like 7.
Wait, what?
Okay, it's going to be between 7 and 8. But how can we simplify? This is 66. How can we simplify square root of 50? What can we use?
2 times 25.
25 times 2. Why is 25 a good number to use?
I don't know.
The square root of 25 is 5.
Because 25 is a perfect square.
It's going to be 5 right?
Or
5, so 20, I mean 5.
5 radical 2, yes?
Yeah, I'm going
Okay, now, we can use this. How are we going to do this? First thing we want to do is simplify each of these. How can we simplify square root of 8?
2, 3. No, right.
Oh, it's going to be 4.
What can we break square root of 8 down into?
2 times
4
4.
times 2.
2 radical 2. 2 radical 2.
Thank you. Square root of 4 times square root of 2 or 2 radical 2. So,
And then minus 5 radical 2.
and then we said already that square root of 50 is 5 radical 2.
Plus
Still 4, I think.
98.
And then what about 98?
It's
49 times 2.
49 times 2. So 49 times 2, square root of 49 times 2 is what? Is 7 radical 2.
Yeah.
49 is a perfect. Minus 5 radical 2 plus 7 radical 2. So what's the answer?
It's
Four radicals.
4 radical 2. Because we got 2 of them, then we subtract 5, so we got negative 3 of them, and we add 7, so now we have positive 4 of them. Another thing from problem set 66, very quickly, is when we're talking about very large numbers, remember how when we're breaking down, when we're simplifying square roots, we always want to find perfect squares. If you have a very large number, like 50,000 squares, and is 5 times 10,000. What's the square root of 10,000?
Square root of 10,000.
No. 1,000 squared is a million.
What?
Is 100. Thank you. We can count, listen, we can count the zeros. Each one has a 0. It gives us 100, so 2 zeros. 100 times 100 gives us 10,000. The 2 zeros in each of them give us a million. Because we had 3, 6. 6 zeros here. 100,000 though has how many zeros? 5's not. We can easily get out 500,000.
500,000.
We said that 500,000 is not a perfect square, right?
Yeah.
So, but what is a perfect square that we can get out of there?
You can go 50.
50 times what?
50,000.
No, it's 500. 50 times 10,000, and 10,000 is a perfect square. Yes? So, we've got square root of 50 times, what's the square root?
10,000 is
Up.
1,000.
Is 100.
You already said it.
Is 5 what? Please don't say things like 5 and 2.
5 radical 2.
Thank you. 5 radical 2 times 100. So what's the square root of 500,000?
5 radical 2.
Uh,
Times.
8 plus 6.
Oh, it's gonna be probably like what? 10 radical 2.
No. 5 times radical 2 times 100.
That can be.
No. So when you've got lots of zeros, you can divide out powers of 10 easily by cutting the numbers to 0 in half if you've got an even number of them. For homework, the following from 66.
We have one more? Oh,
All of them except the following. Expect a test on Friday and corrections for Thursday, please.
that's why you wanted us to do the test questions on Thursday.
Oh,
But you wanted to give us
12, 14, 15, 18, 19, 22, 25, 27, and 30. You get to skip lots there. Come out.